In a League of Their Own podcast is brought to you by Smooth My Balls. Are you sick of snagging your nuts or cutting yourself with a generic Bic razor or generic clipper? Well, now you don't have to worry. Smooth My Balls offers a 5-star below-the-belt care for men, starting with the Turf Chopper 3.0, the next level razor that provides a very smooth and clean finish with no cuts on your sack. And coming in for the closer, you got the Pube Muncher 1.0, a compact mini vac that cleans up the job with no hair left behind. Head over to smoothmyballs.com today and use code LEAGUE at checkout for 15% off your top of the line men's grooming kit. Again, that's LEAGUE, LEAGUE, for 15% off. Smooth My Balls, shave like a pro.
Rep Sports. Rep Sports is a leading supplement and nutrition company that provides everything from pre-workout and protein to recovery supplements. If you're looking for a healthy pick-me-up, Rep also offers Raise Energy, a zero sugar drink that helps with workout and recovery, mental focus as well. Head over to repsports.com today and use code LEAGUE for 15% off your order. That's LEAGUE for 15% off.
Golf kicks. Tired of wearing the same old boring golf shoes? Not the most comfortable? Now you don't have to worry. Customize all types of shoes, from Crocs to flip-flops, sneakers to boat shoes, and wear them in style while you rip it up on the course. Head over to golfkicks.com and use code OWN20 at checkout to get a 20% discount on your order. That's OWN20. Screw your shoes.
Streamer Loot. Want to rep the best up-and-coming sports podcast? Of course you do. Head over to streamerloot.co today and check out our first line of merch. We have t-shirts, sweatshirts, mugs, and stickers. Again, that is streamerloot.co to check out our merch. Hey everybody, it is Monday, June 14th, 2021. The Bucks even the series against the Nets as Kyrie goes down, and the Suns sweep the Nuggets as Paul drops 37.
There goes that man's jock strap. Oh my God, did you see that?
America's team? Yeah, right.
Oh, baby, it's a big day in sports. There's nothing like battling it out with your teammates all season long to go win a championship. Green Bay's got it this year. Huge move for them. I think it's going to be a game changer.
We have a lot to talk about this busy week in the sports world. Welcome to the In a League of Their Own podcast.
All right, again, everybody, it is Monday. Welcome to the show. A lot happened over the weekend. Jumping right into the NFL here, a couple points to throw out there. One being that Stephon Gilmore has not reported to Pat's mandatory camp. Jalen Ramsey tweeted at him, trying to recruit him to come out to LA. So we'll kind of see what happens there. But I guess I didn't even know that Gilmore was kind of in a similar situation, kind of like Rodgers, where he's looking for a better contract. So
yeah, he's wanted out because last year there were talks that they were going to trade him.
Oh,
so
didn't he sell his house and then he didn't leave?
He sold his house and they didn't trade him. So
yeah,
I mean that's kind of a kick to the dick doing that. But yeah, he's been looking to get out of there for a while, and being as good of a corner that he is, you could get a pretty penny in return for him. And yeah, it's interesting to see what's going to happen here with the Patriots, because a lot of reports now are coming out that Mac Jones is potentially going to be the week 1 starter. So interesting to see what's going to happen here.
Yeah, I know Newton said that he was either getting back on the field today or he's supposed to be back on tomorrow. He hurt his hand during OTAs. So he's been struggling to stay healthy. Really, over the last couple of years, he's been
jammed his hand when he threw the ball, hit a lineman right in the helmet.
Oh, yeah, he's struggled to stay healthy. I mean, obviously Cam Newton's still a starting quarterback caliber, but if you can't stay healthy, then that kind of throws a wrench into things. So, yeah, I mean, if Newton keeps getting hurt, from what I've seen out of Mac Jones, he definitely seems like he's doing pretty well through OTAs and minicamp and stuff. Just with his stats, they're not like eye popping, but he's not like throwing way too many incompletions or throwing picks or anything like that. So, yeah, like you said, it'll be interesting to see what happens there. Even if Newton is a starter, I know we kind of talked about too, where if the Pats are struggling come week 7, week 8 during the season, maybe he gets the nod. Kind of the same situation with Trey Lance in San Francisco. If the 49ers struggle till about that halfway point, he could get a look. If not earlier than that, I know some reports say Trey Lance could get on the field as early as week 3 or week 4, depending on whatever things happen. But yeah, and then another thing going on is Le'Veon Bell and his little beef with the Chiefs organization, saying
It's just with Andy Reid.
Oh, just with Andy Reid, yeah, saying that he would rather retire than go back and be a part of that team. And then came out either yesterday or this morning and kind of reiterated what he meant by the whole thing.
But he still said that he doesn't regret saying what he said at all.
And then Tyrann Mathieu came out and kind of chirped at Bell too. So it's kind of funny that, I don't know. I mean, he was a part of a Super Bowl winning team. He went and got a ring. Yeah, he wasn't the starting running back, but I know he had trouble staying healthy throughout the year that the Pats won it, or not the Pats, the Chiefs. I don't know. I mean, he's obviously I feel like he's still in the mindset that he was 4 or 5 years ago when he was a top 3 running back in the league.
I still feel like he is. He just doesn't get the reps anymore, because there's guys who are younger that teams are going to instead. Not taking the chances. Is he going to get hurt? Like you said, injury. Is he going to get hurt? Are we going to pay this guy to come in and him to get hurt? Where you go with a younger guy for cheaper and
plus being on that Chiefs offense, you got Kelsey, you got Hill, you got Watkins, you got all these guys. You're not going to run the ball that much.
Watkins.
Oh yeah, that's
I think
right.
They lost him this year. Yeah.
But yeah,
still, then even going back to the quarterback thing that you were talking about, Dan Orlovsky from ESPN, he came out and said he wouldn't be surprised if all the quarterbacks that got taken in the first round start week 1. And he dove into basically the 2 situations. One was in San Francisco. The 49ers have no point to start Jimmy G week 1. If they want any value of him, they need him healthy, and they can't have any more wear and tear on him. So there's no value to having him play. You only have him come in to save the ship if Trey Lance can't do it. And then he went over to the Patriots system where they just rebuilt that O-line. He thinks that the Patriots this year are going to be the team that runs the rock more than any team has in a long time, due to them getting the 3 tight ends, building up that O-line. And he said he really thinks that Jones is going to be the week 1 starter because it's really going to come down to third down passing, where they're going to run the ball, third down. He's got to throw a ball, and he does have really good ball placement with his balls. So that's one area where he does, and he's a bigger guy. He showed that he does have some speed, and, I feel like that could be a great play, just as Fields in Chicago. You don't have what do you have to lose starting in week 1? Nothing. You lose 1 game, and if you say, hey, the kid's not ready, okay, then you go to you go to the veteran who's preparing, as if he's going to be the starter. So I feel like you really have nothing to lose starting all of these rookie quarterbacks, even including Jordan Love in this whole situation with Green Bay. I mean, it's going to come a point to where you got to move on eventually. And
there's going to be a point of no return where even if Rodgers does come back, if they're completely developed the whole scheme playbook around Jordan Love, probably the playbook's going to be simplified compared to an Aaron Rodgers playbook, obviously, for him being. So if you're developing your offense, they're all memorizing these plays, these schemes for a young, simple quarterback, and all of a sudden the complicated quarterback comes back that obviously knows a lot more, then there's a point where you've gone too far where it's we can't do that because
you can't turn back.
So, I mean, I'd say probably by the end of this month, if Rodgers doesn't show up,
say something,
that's probably going to be that point of no return to where come July 1st, Jordan Love's going to be the guy if Rodgers doesn't show up.
Yeah, and Orlovsky was talking about the Packers as well, and he said that he could see them going about 500, give or take, right around there with Jordan Love. coming in and being the quarterback, as we do have one of the greatest, if not the top wide receiver in the NFL. And we have a top 5 line. We have top 5 running backs. So we have a great team for a young quarterback to be able to come in and feel confident in stepping in there and playing. Whether or not he can get over the fact that you never know if Rodgers is going to come back and be the one under center and whatnot. But I really still feel like he will be I feel like he's going to be a Packer. I just feel like they're fine tuning all the details as to what's going to be happening going forward. I feel like, because this whole weekend with Murphy comments coming out about how he's a complicated guy type of thing, people took that way. The media took that totally out of context, and blew that up as like he was taking shots at him, and that's not what happened at all. He was at a shareholders meeting and just talking about how Ted Thompson, who passed away earlier this last year, about how him handing over the keys to Murphy basically was telling him that he's not just a simple dude. Like, there's nothing in his career has ever been simple. Like, he went to community college. He wasn't even like, community college, are you going to make it? Then he had issues in college. Like, is he the top quarterback? Then he was supposed to go pick number 3 or whatever it was, and then dropped all the way down to, and then he wins a Super Bowl and then an MVP. Like, nothing about his career has ever been simple. Like, it's always been complicated, and he's going to be he's a very intelligent person, which maybe to you seems complicated, but to them it's simple. So he was just quoting what Ted Thompson said, like trying to give him advice when it comes to dealing with Aaron and talking to him, as well as a handful of other players on the team. And one of those players that he talked about was Alexander as well, that he's just different than a normal, and obviously everybody's different and all of that type of thing. So there was no shot taken there. He was just quoting him, saying that that's the advice that he got about how to basically talk and handle talking to Aaron Rodgers about what's going on. And yeah, I really don't see no benefit in trading him. I really don't see Rodgers coughing up $30 million either, because that's how much he'd make this year through bonuses and stuff if he'd play. I believe he only has to play like 14 games or something, and he'd get the $30 million or whatever it is. So if he wants the guarantee, like everybody's like the guaranteed money, it's like, yeah, it's not 100% guaranteed. I can understand how he probably wants, maybe half of that guaranteed for the season, but I feel like there's going to get a deal done here, and the media is just trying to stir more shit because there's no news coming out about anything. So they're taking old news and rerunning it as if it's breaking news, which is getting annoying with this whole thing. So yeah, that's basically all the news about the whole thing, because everybody thought that it was some big thing, and it really wasn't.
Yeah. I mean, that's been the whole thing. It's none of it's really been direct quotes from Rodgers, from sources, from anything. It's all either been made up, paraphrased to the point that the media can post it however they want it to trigger people, or a mixture of the two. None of it's really ever been fact. The only time Rodgers has come on and said anything was a couple weeks back on ESPN, and he was very
candid.
Yeah, simple, to the point, just kind of didn't throw out any names of this person, that person. He didn't even really say the Packers. He said the NFL like needs to learn how to appreciate people more, like,
And maybe
players.
this whole play is a push for not just himself, but for everybody to be treated. It could be this could be something. Obviously, it's not. I don't feel like it's the size of like what Kaepernick did with taking the knee, of a movement like that. But this could be something bigger than people don't even realize, of what he's trying to do, as far as people taking care of each other, making sure players are taken care of, all that sort of stuff. So who knows how far, this move stretches of what he's trying to get done, because he's a very calculated person. He's doing all of this for, he's not doing this just because.
Mhm.
This is all part of some sort of plan that he has with his agent. And yeah, I'm sure they're working on stuff every day, but yeah.
Yeah, Yeah, the last thing for the NFL here, just kind of football related. Madden 22, the cover, there was a video that came out this morning, teasing at two goats walking out of a barn. So on Thursday morning, they're going to be releasing who the cover athlete is of Madden this year. There's been talks of it being Gronk and Brady. There's been talks of Brady and Rogers and Adams. Like, there's been a couple different ones thrown out there because it's two goats. So it's going to be
Mahomes,
supposedly,
Tyreek, Mahomes,
yeah,
Travis
or
Kelce.
Brady Mahomes. That's another one that's been talked about. But supposedly this is going to be the first dual or double athlete cover since 2010 with Paul Malu and Fitzgerald. So
I could see Tom Brady and maybe even Trevor Lawrence. Like the GOAT
kind
from
of like how the
college, the
NBA,
GOAT in the NFL.
how the NBA kind of does it, how they have the like standard edition and legend edition, how they have like what was it this past year, Dame Lillard, and then the legend version was Kobe. So they have like two different covers or two different versions. So um yeah, I mean Madden's been the same every year. You're basically paying $60 for an updated roster every year. So but yeah, I don't know, still fun to throw out there. And on Friday's episode, we'll definitely talk about who's going to be the cover athlete this year.
Yeah, and then the only thing I have is Trevor Lawrence is out of teams drills the first day of minicamp. He injures his left hamstring. He injured this early in OTAs as well, where he did sit out some drills and stuff. So who knows how big of an impact this can make on Trevor Lawrence's career. Tearing a hamstring ain't no fun. I've done it myself. Your mobility in that leg is no longer there anymore. It takes a lot of work and maybe even surgery to the point of how bad you do completely tear and all that type of stuff. So hopefully everything is fine with him. You know, you hope you'd like to see him step on the field. I mean, the dude's never lost a game,
Mm-hmm.
you know, in his high school or college career. He's never lost. So it's pretty crazy to say that for a guy who's never lost a football game in his entire life to potentially be not even get a chance to display what he's got in the NFL. And that goes to show that you never know what's going to happen. You always go 100% because something crazy like that could happen and you never get to play again.
Yeah. I mean, it's still a lot of time, but yeah, if it's a nagging injury, because obviously if he takes time away, then Urban Meyer is going to have to look for somebody else maybe to get those QB1 reps through camp and all that stuff up until August. So, I mean, we'll see what happens. It could just be some tightness too. I mean, down in Jacksonville, it's hot. You don't stay hydrated enough. You pull something and it takes a couple days or a week or whatever to get back to 100%. So who knows what's going to happen there, but yeah. So then jumping over to the NBA here, some interesting games happened yesterday. The Bucks tied up the series yesterday 2-2. The Nets lose Kyrie Irving in the game with the ankle injury, went up for a layup, came down, landed on Giannis's foot and completely turned his ankle sideways. Looked like he was in a lot of pain going off the court. His x-ray came back negative, so he doesn't have a break, but as we were saying before we went live, sometimes a break is the best way to go about it because sprains, he's not going to recover from that until the season's done.
If ever.
Yeah, if ever. So, and then Harden as well, still not a for sure for game 5 either. He's looking to make a game 6 return. So the Nets are still the favorite to win the NBA finals this year, but they are now the underdogs in this series. So, which I mean, the Bucks are hot. They've won the last 2 games. They got their 3-point range back. I think they hit through 3 quarters. They had 13 threes as a team, and every game game 2, the first 2 games or whatever, there was like 5 3-pointers combined or something. So they kind of got that back. Yeah, I mean, the whole team's kind of stepping up and doing their part. They had an 11-point win yesterday. Again, losing Irving, like I think it was third quarter they lost him.
Early third, yeah.
Early third, and then again Harden not being on the court at all. So I mean, again, this is a big question mark on Kevin Durant's head as far as if he can step up and be that guy. He's always been on a team. When he was in OKC, he had Russell Westbrook and even James Harden for a little bit. Golden State, he had Curry, Thompson, Green. And now in Brooklyn, he's finally that one lone guy that we get to see if he can step up in a clutch moment heading back home for game 5 to try to take this series back. Because if Milwaukee goes into Brooklyn, game 5 takes a game, Bucks look to close out the series in Milwaukee game 6. Even if Harden does come back, Irving comes back, that's going to be a tall task going into Milwaukee on a team that's won 3 in a row to try to take the series back. So yeah, it's going to be really fun to watch. Again, they don't play, or they play tomorrow.
Yep.
I believe they've been taking off. They've had 2 games in between each game up until this point to let some of these other series catch up. And then now the Suns, they go out and sweep. So now the Bucks, who were the team that was ahead of everybody, is now like the second fastest series going through. Now the Suns get to rest. So yeah, tomorrow's going to be a big game going back out to Brooklyn. Hopefully the Bucks can get it done. They are favorited in that point by 3, or that game by 3 points. The first game they are favored in the series. So yeah, we'll see what happens. And then, as I just mentioned, again, Phoenix Suns, they swept the Nuggets in Denver last night. They're going to advance to the Western Conference Finals, and they will play either the Jazz or the Clippers, looking like the Jazz, as they have a 2-1 series lead. And they play again tonight to try to go up 3-1 in that series. And then Chris Paul dropped 37 points, which was the most in 4 or 5 years that he's dropped.
I think it was 3 years.
3 years. And then Booker right behind him with 34. So again, that Suns team looks really good. Again, definitely look like the favorites to be coming out of the West and into the NBA Finals.
Yeah, dude, that's my pick. I mean, every game they continue to look better and better and better as far as sharing the ball. It's always amazing when you get that type of point production from Chris Paul. You know he's going to get the assists, and you know he's going to be dominant from the free throw line. But as far as like being as dominant as he is, I think he's like plus 97 for point differential when he's on the court this series. He's 100% free throws, which is impressive. He's only got a handful of turnovers, I believe, in the whole playoffs. So he's doing what he does, and hopefully this is his time. And this is the team that goes and wins a title. Last year when they were in the bubble, they were undefeated. They add Crowder to the mix. They re-signed Paul, and now they're a wagon. This team is built to win a championship. They play offense and defense, and they never give up. They're gritty. I mean, they look like the complete team right now, and that's why I picked them. Literally, the game that I watched, they dominated whoever they dominated, and I just watching them play, they just look like a legit team, and that's why I picked them, and they just sweep. So yeah, now they get some rest. Chris Paul could finally get to 100%, and this team is looking to go, the deep run. I think they're going to have to go through Utah, as that, they're looking pretty good right now. And then yeah, just going back to the Bucks Nets, I feel like if the Bucks can continue to hold the Nets to under 100 points, the Bucks will win. Kevin Durant obviously is going to have to turn it up. He's going to have to show everybody what he's got. I feel like he's going to have to put up 40 points at least, and he's going to have to hope that the rest of his team makes the buckets when it counts, because that's what it comes down to at the end of the day. You could put up 81 points by yourself and still lose if your team doesn't step up as well. So I feel like that team's got their back against the wall going home. I'm looking for them to come out strong. I don't think the Bucks are going to win game 5. I feel like the Nets are going to come out strong with their backs against the wall. Kind of, this is the first taste of adversity that they've faced all season long. Kind of not having the momentum, and you're down to your superstars you're really going to get to see what that team is made of. And if they crumple and fall and the Bucks win, it's going to be over, and it'll be over in 6. If the Nets show that they have some resilience, I see this going 7, and it's going to be a very interesting matchup because the Milwaukee crowd right now is unbelievable. I feel like they gave them so much energy yesterday on the court, especially in big swings, foul calls. That's the one thing I did want to get into here. The refs have been, I feel like, trying to be the ones running the show here in the playoffs. That Jokic fault, yeah, he's 7-11 and he's got his arm going down. He barely makes contact a little bit with his elbow, and then gets all ball. And he even said, I wanted to change the momentum. They were down by 8 points at that moment. He wanted to change the momentum with a hard foul, but he didn't literally know that he was going to get ejected because he wasn't going for the face. That was a big sell. And then Jokic and Booker kind of got into him, like little tussles, fuck you match. And Jokic was like, what are you going to do? What are you going to do? And then Booker just looked at the rep and he's like, that's bullshit, man. Like, he didn't want no piece of that. That's a big man. I feel like he could do some damage. But yeah, I hope the refs, it's the playoffs. You let them play. The Connaughton, he gets an elbow to the face. He's gushing blood. No call. And then you go over to that game where he's making a play on the ball and he gets kicked out. I'd like to see some consistency is the word that I'd like to say. If you're going to let him play, let him, tell him, hey, we're going to let you guys play. If not, hey, we're going to be calling everything. That's the one thing like about hockey that's so amazing from the refs and the communication between the players and the referees. They'll tell you straight up if they're going to let shit go or if they're going to call everything. Like before the game even starts, so you kind of even know what you're getting in, like as far as how far you can push it without taking it over outside of being competitive to just being an asshole.
Yeah. And one matchup that I like that the refs have kind of been letting go is the PJ Tucker, Kevin Durant thing, where it goes both sides, where Tucker will get a foul, but then Tucker, he'll take a charge and get an offensive foul on Irving, and he's been shutting him down really well.
He's been our best defensive player for sure.
In the last 2 games, I think when he's a primary defender, he's shooting like 18-19% against Tucker. Durant is. So, I mean, it's obviously a good matchup, and Tucker, I keep doing what he does. I'm sure going game 5 into Brooklyn, it always seems like the home court tilts a little bit to where I'm sure Durant's going to get a couple more calls to go his way. But at the same time, Durant, it seems like when he gets pissed off, he doesn't play well.
Well, he put up 16 points after Kyrie went down in the third quarter with like 8 minutes left. So he took over the game in that quarter. Just, I don't know, because like when I texted you, I was like, dude, he just went from calm, cool to fucking laser beam. Like his eyes just like dialed in, and it's just like, here he goes, like getting the ball off, and he'd take it down the court every time and make a shot. Like he took over the game, which he can do in stretches. But the thing is, if you got to do that by yourself a full game, you can't.
No,
because what the Bucks did after he like went off like that is they started doubling him, where Tucker take him out high, and if he tried to roll down, you had the guy right there ready to stop him, and you had the other guy over the top where if he tried to roll over the pick and roll, he'd be doubled that way. And he had to rely on his teammates to make shots, which they didn't. And shout out to the Bucks. They've been playing tremendous defense. And like I said, 100, I think, is that threshold for the Bucks, where we keep them under 100, we win, because of the fact that keeping them to a team that was putting up 140, 150 points to 100, you're shutting them down. Like that's you can't expect them to keep them to 60 points. That's not realistic.
Yeah. Yeah, but those will all be fun games to watch. And the last one to kind of mention here before we wrap up the NBA is, again, another game, game 4 that's happening, 76ers Hawks. Hawks took game 1 in Philly, game 4 in Atlanta. Hawks look to try to even up the series, though I see this game going, or the series going 5 in the 76ers. Taking game 4 tonight and then going back to Philly to close things out. So it's funny how the Bucks were the team that was way ahead, sweeping the first round, and then now they're probably going to be the last series to finish up, as it's going to go 6 or 7, and these two series will probably go 5, maybe 6.
I could see the Philly Hawks going 6. I could see Atlanta stealing one more, but I don't think that they got it. Trey's going to have one more good game where they're going to win, but I don't think overall as a team, the 76ers are just too much for them. Yeah. And the size too. They're big. They're a big team.
Mm-hmm. So going over to the MLB here then for a few points. The Brewers get the weekend sweep over the Pirates. That was a fun series to watch, even though the Pirates are bottom of the NL Central. A sweep is a sweep nonetheless. They're back in action tonight against the Reds, who they just played before the weekend series against the Pirates. They won that series as well. I think they took 2 out of the 3 games. So, the Brewers on a roll. Cubs are right there neck and neck with them, though. They're still tied for that top spot in the Central. The Cubs just swept the Cards this weekend as well to kind of hold their ground there. So, it's going to be fun coming down the stretch here for that one. The Blue Jays, they put up 18 runs yesterday against the Red Sox. They had 20 hits, 8 of which were home runs. And those 8 home runs were the most ever given up by a game in Boston history. The Diamondbacks have lost 10 straight as they go into a series with the NL West leading Giants. The Astros also notched 20 hits yesterday and 14 runs in a 14-3 win over the Twins. So both of those are high-scoring games yesterday. And then Fernando Tatis Jr. hits a grand slam in the 7th inning yesterday. As the Padres broke a 2-2 tie, they'd win that game 7-3, and they also avoided the weekend series sweep against the Mets. So, again, the Mets are a really good team. Again, Padres are right there in the West with the Giants and Dodgers. So, that's all I got for the MLB.
Yeah, and then let's dive into the NHL here. The Boston Bruins, who take an early exit from the New York Islanders, coming out, Boston goaltender Tuukka Rask was not 100%. Looks like he's going to need off-season hip surgery. His hips look like have been messing with him. He said it for the last 3-4 months, and he just tried to play tough and battle through, and unfortunately he couldn't get it done for them. So he's hoping to re-sign with the team. I don't know if Boston is going to re-sign him, as he is a higher priced goaltender. He is a veteran, he's a well-polished goaltender, but I feel like their backup has what it takes to be the starter. Maybe he takes the backseat role and plays every, handful of games for a lot less just to stay on the team. But I feel like he's going to have to take less if he wants to stay Boston Bruin. Then the Columbus Blue Jackets, who had a rough season, they hired new coach Brad Larson. They're he's looking to come in there and change the culture there. Moving on from John Tortorella, who's a very full of piss and vinegar type of guy, getting in your face, yelling, extreme energy type of guy, to a more chilled, laid back type of guy who's going to be more focused on strategy. Is the way that he put it. So it's going to be interesting to see what, 360 degree or 180 degree change of temperature in the locker room and the way that things are going to be done there, to see if that team can bounce back and have a good year next year. The Montreal Canadiens and the Las Vegas Golden Knights have game 1 tonight of the conference final. I don't even know. You can't even call it a conference final. I think they're calling it the semifinal this year, since they had the 4 different conferences. I think they're calling it the semifinals. So they play game 1 tonight in the semifinals. Jake Evans, who did take the knee to the face from John Tavares, that was the hit from Mark Scheifele. I apologize. The game winner in game 1, when he got hit in the face and he landed on his face and he was taken off on a stretcher. He will be accompanying the Montreal Canadiens on the road trip. I don't think there's plans for him to play. but he will be with the team on the road. So that could be some boosted momentum and some energy from the boys, having him back in the building, his presence for taking the hit for the boys, finishing off that game one with that empty netter, really putting the dagger in game one. So it's going to be really cool to see. I know the NHL talked to Cole Caulfield coming into the matchup here, and they asked him just, how do you feel about basically your first season going into a moment like this? And he basically said, I'm just trying to take it all in and just have as much fun as I can, because some players never get this far in their career. You'd be lucky to get here once, twice in your career, and you never know when you're going to get back. So he just said he's just all about being here, having fun, soaking it all in, and ready to compete and do the best they can going forward. I really feel like Montreal is going to cause some problems here for Vegas, the way that they play, a little bit slower style. If they let Vegas dictate the pace, I feel like this could go bad for Montreal. But if Montreal can continue to just play their games calm, cool, collected, get some stellar goaltending from Carey Price as he's caught fire in these playoffs, and you never know. I feel like this is a goalie battle for the ages here. You have Carey Price, who's a veteran. He's won every award that there is. I don't think he has a Stanley Cup though. However, he is Canada's number one goaltender for the past however many years. He's won so many world championships and stuff like that. And then you have Marc-Andre Fleury, this is his 19th postseason, I believe, or 18th postseason. He's a veteran as well. He knows how to win. He's won everything as well. And it's going to come down to who makes the save at the right time. I feel like this is going to be a series of bounces, and yeah, it's going to be very interesting to see. And then for a little bit of off ice stuff, Vegas has been going at Nashville on Instagram, just posting pictures of early exits, and you should have 3 banners hung up: early exit, early exit, early exit, whatever. And so Nashville taking shots back at Vegas here. They sent a message saying, "Oh, who's number 22?" I couldn't really tell on the broadcast, so they put Nick Holden is the guy's name, and they go, "Holding these nuts." And then they did another one. They posted another meme because Vegas has never. They made it to the final, like the Stanley Cup Finals, their first year. But ever since then, this is the farthest that they've made it, and they've always lost. And are they going to be able to do it this year? And they posted like a little meme thing of like showing all their early exits. So it's pretty comical to see teams taking shots at each other on social media, riling up the fan bases. I think that's awesome for the game. And then one thing last night, game one got underway between the New York Islanders and the Tampa Bay Lightning, defending Stanley Cup champions. The New York Islanders steal game one down there. They played a phenomenal game, and Tampa made one too many mental mistakes, which costed them the game. That's all it comes down to in hockey, is one mistake could be it. And that's what happened for Tampa Bay. They weren't able to catch back up. It was 2-1 was the final score. Yeah, like I said, that one mistake, and their coach even came out afterwards and he said, our mental awareness wasn't there tonight. And that was the difference of the game, was the mental mistakes, not playing sticks when they should, not blocking shots, getting one little thing is all it takes. And they didn't have it last night. The Islanders capitalized on the road. I feel like that's huge for the Islanders fans, as last year they got blown out. I believe it was 8-1 in game one by Tampa when they faced them in the conference finals. So they're looking to rewrite that series of last year. And this Islanders team is full of fucking piss and vinegar. They're hungry, and they really want, I feel like, to win the Stanley Cup, especially the building that they're in. This is the last season that they're going to be in that building, and they said that they are finishing the playoffs in that building. So chance to keep the Barclays Center rocking and moving, because this is the last dance at that arena. And I feel like for Islanders fans and all the people in New York, Long Island, who aren't Rangers fans, I feel like there's a lot of history. Like, you guys have been waiting for a long time to get the Stanley Cup, and it'd be amazing to see you guys pull it off. Same with like Montreal. It's been forever since the Montreal Canadiens have won a Stanley Cup. Same with Vegas. They've never won a cup either. So I feel like Tampa's got to kick it in gear, or it's going to be a short series. I can even see in 5, Islanders in 5. But that's all I have. I mean, games every other night, which is nice that you don't have to watch more than one game because sometimes they go for forever. But tonight I'm looking for a Montreal win. I'm going to call a Montreal win. I'm going to say 3-1. 3-1 tonight is what I'm going to guess if I had to. And then that's all I really had on the NHL. And then I just had one thing about golf quick here. This weekend, Tyrell Hatton had a 4-shot lead going into the last round. He was the 54-shot hole leader. Going into the last 4 holes, he collapsed. He had 3 bogeys in the last 4 holes, and he ended up tying for 3rd place. Just goes to show you gotta, golf is that sport where a bogey kills you when you're in the lead. So yeah, I mean that was a massive collapse, and they're talking about it on ESPN how this guy has done this multiple times where he's had the lead going into the last few holes and just pressure gets to him because he put one in the water on a par 3 right off the tee box. And that's when you knew it kind of was going downhill from there. And that's all I really had for me. Do you have anything else to add here?
Yeah, just one more thing to throw out there is the CFL, Canadian Football League, approves a 14-game season that's going to kick off August 5th. So good to see if that's going to be back. Canada's been a lot more had things a lot more locked down than the US the last year and a half with COVID. I know with sports crossing over and stuff, they've been stingy with stuff, and they're finally starting to let stuff go. And then now they're going to bring back the CFL in August. So just want to throw that out there, wrapping things up today.
Yeah. And then one more thing too, that I just forgot, Djokovic, the tennis player, wins his 18th Grand Slam or whatever. He's now tied with Nadal and Federer for the most all time. He needs one more, I think, to set that record. And that's pretty impressive. Playing tennis is very difficult, especially singles. That's just impressive.
For sure. Yeah, that's all I had for today.
Well, yeah, then let's just wrap it up here. Don't forget to like, follow, subscribe. You can go to all of our channels, YouTube, Facebook, TikTok, Instagram, Twitter. Go to Google, type in a League of Their Own podcast. That you should be able to find us that way. You can also go to Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, anywhere that's associated with Anchor. They are on multiple platforms, so anything that they're affiliated with, you can find them that way. Don't forget to go to the merch store as well. Stop on down, get your own hat, mug, sticker, whatever you want, and help spread the word of our podcast. We'd really appreciate it. Also, Apple Podcasts or Google Podcasts, you can give us a 5-star rating if you can. And you can even, for whatever reason, you don't even have to say anything. Helps drive us up the charts and gets us more views and more eyes potentially on our podcast. So we'd really appreciate it for all of those who go and do that. And that's kind of all I had. Stanley Cup bracket, we took a look this weekend. We will be reaching out to the people who will pretty much have it sealed up of who's going to win. I think the first place was I think the first 2 were for sure. And I think the 3rd place was still potentially in a battle. So we'll reach out to those once we for sure get the once we know 100% that you're going to win, we'll reach out and just let us know what type of merchandise you would like. Go off to the store and thanks for stopping in, everyone. And it was a great Monday, long weekend. And we'll be back on Wednesday. Might have a special episode this week sometime. Might have an interview coming for you guys. Still have to work on some scheduling with person that we're bringing on here. But hoping we can make that work this week. So
for sure.
That's all I've got.
Sounds good. Well, we will see you guys Monday or on Wednesday, and have a great Monday and Tuesday. We'll see you then.